The six world powers, Britain, France, Germany, Russia, China, and of course the United States, working this past week to hammer out a final deal on Iran's nuclear program by June 30th. But watchers say after 12 years of talks, even that deadline could get pushed forward. For most, the question comes down to this. Will the ultimate agreement include the enrichment of uranium? Congressman Peter King is a member of the Committee on Homeland Security, and he joins us now. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great
of course, you chair the subcommittee on counterterrorism and intelligence, so we want to get your insights here.
Right.
Is that the last sticking point? If that's the case, isn't it black and white? Will they continue to enrich uranium or not?
Yeah, that may be the final point they're discussing, but I think this is a bad deal. If everything that we've heard about it is true, basically what we're doing is what the U.S. is agreeing to is to lock in the nuclear infrastructure in Iran so that they can break loose, they can break out. We're allowing them to keep the uranium, the centrifuges. They're going to have as I understand it, they're going to have the encased locations, which will make it very difficult for us to take them out in the future. So this, to me, is, we went into this to take away Iran's nuclear power. We are now basically institutionalizing it. We're putting it into place. So we're allowing Iran to keep what we said we were going to take away.
Which is why I come back to, isn't this like black and white? I mean, at the end of the day, if they continue to enrich uranium, we know that could possibly or probably lead to a nuclear bomb. Shouldn't that be out of the deal? Is that a deal breaker?
It should be a deal breaker. I mean, a lot of other things should be a deal breaker. That should certainly be a deal breaker. And yet, I just think this administration, I think the president, honestly wants a deal. And he's willing to take a not-so-good deal because I believe that he wants to, in fact, institutionalize Iran, to make Iran a dominant player in the Middle East, so you have the U.S. and Iran almost a balance of power. And I think almost like maybe the days of the U.S. and the Soviet Union, because more and more people I've spoken to, both in the administration and in Washington, believe the president wants to end the days of us feuding with Iran, and he believes if Iran is given this leeway, that they will join the community of nations.
It really is quite extraordinary. In fact, even this past week, most of the players left after it was clear that the deadline had been missed, and then of course we came to a preliminary framework. But John Kerry stayed. They want a deal to happen. So that's what you worry, that in fact the need to want this deal so much and the need for a deal will actually, override some of the things that actually need to be in that deal.
Yeah, and we're the one holding the cards. I'm not trying to be overly macho here, but we're the ones who hold the cards, and yet we're the ones who are basically giving the Iranians what they want. You're right, the other countries have left. Kerry is staying behind, almost desperate to get a deal no matter what. And again, everything the president said in the beginning, for instance, that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, well, the fact is we're allowing them to lock in place what it takes to get the nuclear weapon. And as far as breaking out, they will, I believe, have enough time to break out before we know about it.
Isn't it extraordinary that also we are negotiating with Iran right now, but at the same time fighting them on the Saudi side, because the Saudis have led this strike in Yemen, and Iran has said if the Saudi-led strike continues in Yemen, there will be more bloodshed.
But we're also fighting alongside the Iranians in Iraq, or at least our people are fighting alongside them. Yeah, this is, to me, the Middle East is out of control. The president's doing a lot of juggling here, but I don't think there's any grand strategy. I think he wants to disengage the U.S., and he is willing to live with a strong Iran, believing that if we make certain concessions to them, that we can work with them.
How important will all of this be to voters for the 2016 election? I mean, I want to get your take also on the Hillary situation as well. But as voters, think about their next president this year and going into next year, do you think foreign policy and the strategy that we've had or lack of is going to be an important factor for them?
It should be if we have a Republican who that can raise the issue. I mean, if we're talking about people who want to disengage, who say the U.S. should be getting out, no, we will not be able to raise the issue. We have to show that we have our own position, that we disagree with the president, and we are willing to take the strong action that's necessary. And we cannot retreat from the world. We cannot be isolationists.
Well, look at what's happened. I mean, we've been leading from behind, and today the Middle East is actually a more dangerous place than ever before. Is that a fair statement?
It's not even close. Absolutely. It's totally fair. And the situation today is not even close to the past. Libya, right now, we have ISIS is going to Libya. Libya is chaotic. We see what's happening in Iraq, where ISIS has made tremendous inroads. The defeats against ISIS have been with the help of Iran. So we're now making Iran more powerful in that region. Yemen is pretty much gone. You have half the country going to Houthis, the other half going to al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. We can go through country by country. And that's why countries countries like Israel, Saudi Arabia are so nervous and desperate over what's happening.
In fact, when you consider the fact that we pulled our troops out of Iraq, left so much high-tech equipment there, what happened? Right. ISIS took that equipment, and now ISIS is fighting the Americans with our equipment.
And that's one of the worst decisions any president ever made. By us pulling out of Iraq, that's what created the chaos, because there was no, in effect, adult supervision of the Iraqis and the Iraqi army. They splintered off between Shiites and Sunnis. So when ISIS came in, the army was not equipped to take them on. Plus, as you said, all that material was left behind.
All right, real quick on Hillary. What's your take here? The committee, the Select Committee on Benghazi, wants to see the emails. She wiped the server clean.
Yeah.
I don't know, on any other planet, if you wipe the server clean and you destroy government evidence, I would say you would disqualify yourself as being the leader of the free world. What do you think?
I have a lot of regard for Trey Gowda. He's going to follow this all the way. It's a long way from now to the election, but if anything at all, if there's any smoking gun turns up, then Hillary Clinton is going to have a real issue. And you're right, the whole question of why, but she may be able to stall that one out. I think you're going to need more of a smoking gun, someone who was there who can claim that this was done for the wrong motive. Other than that, it's her word against everybody else's, and it's a long way to election day.
I don't think her core has really been impacted. Do you think the voters will get impacted by what she's done?
They may in the general election if we have a candidate who can raise it as an issue.
Congressman, good to have you on the show.
Maria, thank you.
Thank you so much. Always nice to see you. Have a good weekend.